Hello, my darlings. I'm back again, and I'm even more excitable than usual. I could explode because after all these weeks, I finally got to see my older boys who live a little bit away from me in the UK, and I'm just so full of gratitude. And actually, that is what I wanted to speak with you about today and just share a few things about gratitude. And you know, some of you might sit there thinking, oh, you know, we've had all this COVID. What is there to be grateful for? But actually, during this time, even though it's been very, very sad and very challenging in many respects, I know it's certainly given me time to step back and really, really, really think about my 200-mile-an-hour life and what really counts. And seeing my older boys at the weekend really brought that home to me as well. So gratitude is an actually magical thing. It's my lovely favourite saying. It's magic, but it's science. Now, if I had a very lovely person called Robert Emmons next to me right now on this bench, I'd give him a big cuddle because he is the leading researcher into all these amazing benefits of gratitude. For instance, it gives you better physical health. When you think of or write down, journal 5 things you're grateful for before you go to bed, you'll have a deeper and more restful sleep. Imagine that, just because you're thinking of some things you're grateful for. You know, if you appreciate people, it gives you better social skills. It opens doors to relationships. So by simply saying thank you to somebody, if they've helped you with a work project or opened a door for you or done something kind for you, that actually helps them want to engage with you more. We've really lost that because before COVID, if you think about it, and actually especially during, we've been really reliant on our screens. So that actual thanking people, even if it's a little thank you card, old-fashioned snail mail, you know, it fills people with all that magic oxytocin and serotonin, you know. But Robert Emmons also proved that there is a massive link between gratitude and well-being. So it's science. Whilst you're relaxing and just feeling deeply grateful for what you have around you. It boosts psychological health, it reduces jealousy, envy, and that in turn boosts self-esteem. You know, be grateful for what you have. Don't worry about who's got a better job or more money. There are more important things to worry about, you know. And if you are really grateful for the gifts and the strengths that you have, just lovely you through the screen, you will be amazed at how this boosts you psychologically, physically, helps you live longer. You know, you're more content within yourself. It increases empathy, compassion, what we call emotional intelligence now. You know, it boosts all of that and helps in our interaction, whether that's in our families, at school, in the workplace. These are life skills and it helps you be healthier. It's also fantastic. There's a proven link between gratitude and resilience to stress, and in particular, trauma and PTSD. So studies run on soldiers back from the Vietnam War, research goes back as far as that. The ones who practiced gratitude actually were able to deal with their PTSD better. So they were more resilient to it and what they'd gone through. So on all sorts of massive levels, just simply being thankful not only affects you and your well-being, but those around you, and opens the door to new opportunities. How amazing is that? So when I work with children, families, different workshops, I actually make it into a game. Because actually, you know, because a lot of my work is with kids with different abilities, you know, if I had a child with ADHD, for instance, and I said, right, sit down and tell me 5 blue things you're grateful for, they just think I was a bit mad, really, and I'd probably have to, you know, really have some heavy bribery, use a bit of my Italian blood. But we're going to do it in a much nicer way, because in my work, every single thing is an invitation. And every single thing I do with any family, workshop, wherever it is, I've even gone into workplaces and done things like this, and done like team days. Because when you do things like this, it really boosts your relationships with people. But the key to it all is to make whatever activity you do about gratitude your own. So I might, for instance, set up, I did this at the end of last summer. I actually had an accident, was in hospital, and instead of asking people to bring me flowers, I said, I'm going nuts. My brain is just 100 miles an hour, you can believe that. So I said, can you bring me a card? And I sat there cutting out gingerbread men. You can actually buy shapes from stores, or you can get kids to cut out shapes. You know, you could make lollipop sticks, write great things to be grateful for on lollipop sticks. You could make little hands. I made these during my stay in hospital. I think I was the craziest patient they've ever had. And you can write mindful things on there and do it like a lucky dip. So, but the important thing is that you write the first few. So it might be, you know, think of somebody who you're really grateful to have in your life and send them thanks from your head if they're not there next to you. So you can start the game off, but then get the kids to ask questions, to write things down, because actually it's incredibly bonding when you do work like this together. So you're making it together. So what I'm going to do is, and what I did with this one, I made a gingerbread trail. I turned into Mrs. Blue Peter. I was so full of energy after being tied to a hospital bed, I mean, they practically had to do that to me, that after I'd cut these out, I hid them all over my garden. And when my rainbow children came, they did like a treasure hunt to find the gingerbread men, like a gingerbread trail. And actually in one of my groups, I did have a child who had bounced in from school. He'd had a really terrible day, and he does have ADHD, and he was up on the ceiling, and he wanted to rush around and find all the gingerbread men at once. So to not draw attention to him and his challenge of that day, I actually said to him, well, why don't you, because he was so good at spotting them and it was upsetting the other children, why don't you help me and say hot or cold when they're near the gingerbread men? You know, so when they were near the gingerbread men, he'd say hot, hot. So it included him without drawing attention to, you know, his ADHD. So everything is inclusive. So I'm going to do 3 randomly just to give you an idea. And you can, as I say, there's all different ways you can do it. You can cut out shapes, get kids used to shapes, hide them around the house. You know, there's all different ways you can adapt this and make it your own. So here goes. I'm going to do gingerbread men because I'm feeling extra childish today. Right. Name 3 things you are grateful for that are blue. The sky, not a cloud in it today. The sea behind me, look how beautiful that is. And the blue of my second son's eyes. When I looked into them for the first time in 8 weeks, I could have cried. That was beautiful. I could have drowned in that blue. Right, think of 3 things in nature which I'm grateful for and send these things a thank you. Thank you, sun, because I absolutely love you. Thank you, moon, because I love you even a tiny bit more. And trees. I love trees. So I'm sending my thanks to all of that. And then lastly, what have we got here? Remember a time when I was filled with joy. Where was I? Who was I with? And to send thanks. Well, that's easy. Being with my family, my 4 children, at the weekend, all of us together for the first time in weeks. And I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for that. I could cry now. I shall see you tomorrow, my darlings.